Good day everyone! Today, we are going to discuss about the properties of operation on integers. So bago tayo magsimula, ano muna ang most essential learning competency ng lesson na ito? That is, to illustrate the different properties of operation on integers. So, inarrow down natin yung MELC na to into different objectives. So, at the end of the lesson, you are expected to enumerate the properties of operation on integers, state each property in words and in symbols, and apply appropriate property to find the missing value in the given equation. So, let us start. So, here are the properties na dapat maintindihan nyo at the end of this video. Commutative property, associative property, distributive property, identity property, inverse property, and the last one, closure. So, simulan natin sa commutative property. So, I want you to discover kung ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng commutative property by observing and exploring yung mga sumusunod na mathematical sentences. Sige nga, ano ba ang napapansin nyo sa mga mathematical sentences na
2 plus 4 equals 4 plus 2. Negative 2 plus 5 equals 5 plus negative 2. 6 times 9 is equal to 9 times 6, and negative 3 times 5 equals 5 times negative 3.
Okay, so based from those examples, let us see if you can state what commutative property is. This time, I want you to state the property by completing the statement. You may choose from the words below.
Rearranging the order in which any real numbers are added or multiplied does not change the result.
Okay, that is good. So kung mapansin nyo, in our examples, ang two operation ay addition and multiplication. And the addends or the factors interchange and the result does not change. So ano kaya sa palagay ninyo ang keyword para sa commutative property?
Sir, order po.
Okay, that is correct. So, kapag commutative property, tatandaan nyo, the order does not matter. This time, let us illustrate commutative property in symbols. So, if A and B are real numbers, then A plus B is equal to
B plus A.
That's correct. A times B is equal to
B times A.
Okay, good. Now, using or applying commutative property, I want you to determine the value of n on the following equation. Number 1, if 6 plus 9 is equal to n plus 6, what is the value of n?
9.
Correct. If 7 times 8 is equal to n times 7, what is the value of n?
8.
Okay, that is good. For the last one, if 4 plus 5 plus 9 is equal to 9 plus n plus 4, what is the value of n?
5.
Okay, that is good. Now, my question, do you think applicable kaya siya sa subtraction at division? Sige, let us see. Is 5 minus 3 equal to 3 minus 5?
No, sir.
Okay, good. Because 5 minus 3 is equal to 2 and 3 minus 5 is equal to negative 2. Therefore, it is not applicable to subtraction. What about in division? Do you think it is applicable to division?
No, sir. Because 15 divided by 3 is equal to 5, and 3 divided by 15 is equal to 1/3.
Okay, that is absolutely correct. Now, in commutative property, it is only applicable to addition and multiplication. but it is not applicable in subtraction and division. Just like in real life, there are things in real life na pwedeng i-change yung order, meron namang things in real life na hindi pwedeng mag-change ng order. For example, what can you see in the picture?
Sir, nagtitimpla po ng juice.
Do you think commutative property applies to that thing?
Yes.
Why?
Kasi po, nasa sayo kung gusto mong unahin ay tubig bago ang juice o di kaya ay ang juice bago ang tubig.
Okay, that's good. That is one real-life situation that shows commutative property. But again, as I have said a while ago, hindi lahat ay applicable ang commutative property. So this time, magkapakita ko ng picture, then sabihin mo, bakit hindi naging applicable ang commutative property?
Kasi sir, ang pagsusuot ng damit ay may tamang order. Dapat ay inuunang isuot ang underwear bago ang pants. Kaya lang, kay Superman, nauna niyang isuot ang pants bago ang underwear.
Okay, that is correct. Now, let us proceed to the next property. And that is associative property. So, tulad ng ginawa natin kanina, magbibigay ako ng mga equations, then you have to discover and observe kung ano ba yung ibig sabihin ng associative property based sa mga given. So, ito yung mga given natin.
The quantity of 2 plus 4 plus 8 is equal to 2 plus the quantity of 4 plus 8. The quantity of 3 plus negative 5 plus 6 is equal to 3 plus the quantity of negative 5 plus 6. The quantity of 2 times 3 times 5 is equal to 2 times the quantity of 3 times 5. Negative 15 times the quantity of 5 times 2 is equal to the quantity of negative 15 times 5 times 2.
Now, based from the given, I want you to state associative property by completing the statement. You may choose from the words below.
Regrouping of real numbers in addition or multiplication does not change the result.
Okay, that is correct. And also, as you can see, sa mga given natin ay meron tayong grouping symbol na parenthesis. Now, ano kaya ang keyword para mas madali natin matandaan ang associative property?
Sir, grouping po.
Okay. Grouping or grouping symbol which is represented by parentheses. So now, let us illustrate associative property in symbols. If A, B, and C are real numbers, then A plus the quantity B plus C equals
Quantity of A plus B plus C.
Okay, that is correct. Now, for the second one, A times the quantity B times C equals
The quantity of A times B times C.
Okay, that is correct. Now, as you can see, yung positioning ng parentheses natin, yun yung nagbabago. Yun yung ibig sabihin ng regrouping. Now, let us apply associative property to find the value of n to the following equation. For the first one, the quantity 6 plus 7 plus 3 is equal to 6 plus the quantity n plus 3. What is the value of n?
Sir, 7 po.
Okay, that is correct. Now, for the next one, 7 times the quantity of 4 times 8 equals 7 times the quantity 4 times n. What is the value of n?
8.
Okay, that is correct. Now, is just like in commutative property. Do you think associative property can be applied to all operation, specifically to subtraction and division? So let us see. Let's have this example. The quantity 8 minus 3 minus 2, is it equal to 8 minus the quantity 3 minus 2?
No, sir. Because the quantity of 8 minus 3 minus 2 is equal to 3, and 8 minus the quantity of 3 minus 2 is equal to 7.
Okay, that is correct. Therefore, associative property cannot be applied to subtraction. What about in division? Is the quantity 30 divided by 10 divided by 2 equal to 30 divided by the quantity 10 divided by 2?
No, because the quantity of 30 divided by 10 divided by 2 is equal to 1.5. And 30 divided by the quantity of 10 divided by 2 is equal to 6.
Okay, that is correct. Therefore, associative property cannot be applied to division. So, napakahalaga ng positioning ng parentheses when we are subtracting and we are dividing because it could change the result. Unlike in addition and in multiplication, if you have a series of addition or puro add, and if you have a series of multiplication or puro multiply, you can always regroup them and the result will not change. In real life, saan ba natin pwedeng i-apply yung associative property? So, magpapakita ako ng picture, tignan natin kung may explain mo ito. Ano ang makikita niya sa picture?
Sir, it's like the boat is sinking.
Okay, that's correct. That is an example of a game. Now, how is associative property illustrated in that game?
Sir, pwede po kasing mag-regroup. Kapag sinabing the boat is sinking, group yourselves into 3, edi bubuo kayo ng 3. Kapag sinabi namang group yourselves into 4, pwede kayong bumuo ng 4. Pwede kang makipag-grupo sa iba.
Okay, that is correct. Now, I'm going to show a picture. Then sabihin mo naman kung applicable ba rito yung associative property or hindi. Ayan.
Hindi po, kasi pinapakita po sa picture ang segregation ng basura. Ibig sabihin, hindi mo pwedeng ilagay sa recycled ang mga bagay na nabubulok at hindi mo naman pwedeng ilagay dun sa trash o mga bagay na nabubulok ang nasa recycled.
Okay, that is correct. So, tandaan nyo lagi, ang associative property, it has something to do with regrouping. But, bear in mind na hindi lahat ng bagay ay pwedeng i-regroup. Kasi may mga bagay na kapag ni-regroup natin or group natin sa iba, may iba na yung result. Let's have the application of commutative property and associative property in mathematics. Paano kaya natin siya magagamit as a shortcut? For example, your teacher asks you to add series of numbers. 5 plus 9 plus 8 plus 7 plus 2 plus 6 plus 3 plus 4 plus 1 plus 5. So, paano mo siya ma-resolve ng mas mabilis using commutative property and associative property? For sure, yung ibang mga galing sa math ay ginagawa nila to. So, una, gagamit ka muna ng associative property para ma-regroup mo yung mga numbers. Pangalawa, gagamit ka ng commutative property para mabago mo yung order. So, commutative property and associative property work hand in hand in order for us to solve this problem ng mas mabilis. So, this is the solution. So, as you can see, nire-order natin yung numbers and then nire-group natin. Group natin yung numbers na kung saan ang magiging sum ay 10. So, 5 plus 5, and then 9 plus 1, and then 8 plus 2, and then 7 plus 3, and then 6 plus 4. So, ginawa natin to para mas mapabilis tayong mag-add. Dahil kapag may 5 plus 5 ang sagot doon ay 10, then 9 plus 1 ay 10, 8 plus 2 ay 10, 7 plus 3 ay 10, 6 plus 4 ay 10. Therefore, we're going to have 4 tens. So, 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10, the answer will be 40. So, that is a lot faster kung i-resolve mo siya without regrouping and without changing the order. The next property. And that property is distributive property. So, the same process. I'm going to give examples, then you're going to describe Or state what distributive property is.
The quantity of 5 plus 3 is equal to 2 times 5 plus 3 times 5. 4 times the quantity of 8 plus 1 is equal to 4 times 8 plus 4 times 1. 5 times the quantity of 9 plus negative 3 is equal to 5 times 9 plus 5 times negative 3.
Okay, good. Now, based from the given, I want you to state what distributive property is by completing the statement. You may choose from the words below.
The product of a number and a sum is equal to the sum of products of the number and the factors of the sum.
Okay, that is correct. Actually, medyo mahirap siyang intindihin if it is written in words. Kaya, it will be much better if we're going to illustrate distributive property in symbols. So, if A, B, and C are real numbers, then A times the quantity B plus C equals
B plus A times C.
Okay, correct. So, we simply distribute A kay B and C using multiplication. So, we distribute A to B, so that will become A times B, and then we distribute A to C, that will become A times C. So, in symbols, that will be equal to AB or A times B plus AC or A times C. So, now, applying distributive property, let us find the value of n. For number 1, 3 times the quantity 3 plus 5 is equal to 9 plus n. What is the value of n?
15.
Okay, that's good. How did you get 15?
Because 3 times 3 is equal to 9 and 3 times 5 is equal to 15. So it will be 9 plus 15.
Okay, that is good. Now for number 2, n times the quantity 8 plus 6 is equal to 24 plus 18. What is the value of n?
3.
How did you get 3?
Because 3 times 8 is equal to 24 and 3 times 6 is equal to 18.
Okay, that's correct. So you look for a number in which when you multiply 6, that will become 18. So that is 3. Now, the question is the same with commutative and associative. Do you think this property can be applied to all operation? Let's have this one. Is 2 times the quantity 5 minus 3 equal to 2 times 5 minus 2 times 3?
Yes, sir. 2 times the quantity of 5 minus 3 is equal to 4. And 2 times 5 minus 2 times 3 is equal to 4.
Okay, that is correct. It means that distributive property can be applied to subtraction. Now, what about in division? Is 2 times the quantity 12 divided by 3 equal to 2 times 12 divided by 2 times 3?
No, sir. Because 2 times the quantity of 12 divided by 3 is equal to 8. And 2 times 12 divided by 2 times 3 is equal to 4.
Okay, good. Therefore, it is not applicable to distributive property. Now, isa sa magandang illustration ng distributive property ay ang perimeter ng rectangle. So, nung mga bata pa tayo, akala natin dalawa ang formula sa pagkuha ng perimeter ng rectangle. Yung una, yung 2 times the quantity L plus W. Yung pangalawa, 2L plus 2W. Ngayon, dapat alam nyo na itong dalawa ay parehas lang because of distributive property. We simply distribute 2 kay L tsaka W, kaya naging 2L plus 2W. Now, ano ba ang application ng distributive property? For example, meron tayong 6 times 14. In the usual way, we use vertical multiplication. So 6 times 4 is equal to 24. 4 carry 2. 6 times 1 is equal to 6 plus 2 is equal to 8. But I am sure na yung ibang tao, meron silang ibang way ng pag-solve niyan mentally. So, paano nila ginagawa yon? They apply distributive property. So, yung 6 times 14 nila, yung 14, ginagawa nilang 10 plus 4. So, parang sa utak nila, ang 6 times 14 ay 6 times the quantity 10 plus 4. And then, they distribute 6. So, 6 times 10 and 6 times 4, which will become 60 plus 24. And the answer is 84. So, this is just a shortcut para mas mabilis kang mag-multiply. And I am sure there are some students na sa utak nila ganito mag-multiply. Let's have another example. Ito talaga, makikita nyo ang shortcut ng distributive property. So, 8 times 99. So, instead of using vertical multiplication, we transform 8 times 99 into 8 times the quantity 100 minus 1. Bakit natin ginamit yung 100 or yung mga multiples of 10? Kasi madali tayo mag-multiply kapag multiples of 10. Ina-attach lang natin yung mga zeros. So, distribute this one. This will become 8 times 100 and 8 times 1. And we all know that 8 times 100 is equal to 800 and 8 times 1 is equal to 8. So, madali nila mag-subtract. So, 8 bawasan mo ng 8, the answer is 792. So, ito yung two examples ay ang application ng distributive property as shortcut in mathematics. Next one, identity property. So now, given the following, observe and explore.
7 plus 0 equals 7. Negative 6 plus 0 equals negative 6. 6 times 1 equals 6. Negative 3 times 1 equals negative 3.
Okay, now, state what identity property is by completing the statement. You may choose from the words below. Meron tayo dyang dalawang statement. Yung isang statement that is for addition, then yung next statement naman ay para sa multiplication.
The sum of any number and 0 is equal to the number itself. For the second statement, the product of any number and 1 is equal to the number itself.
Okay, good. So kung mapapansin nyo, parang common sense lang. Pag nag-add ka ng 0, it will not change the number. Pag nag-multiply ka ng 1, it will not also change the number. So parang let's illustrate identity property in symbols. And B are real numbers, then A plus 0 equals?
A.
A times 1 equals?
A.
Okay, that is good. That's why it is called identity property. Because adding 0 or multiplying 1 will not change the identity of the given number. The answer will be the number itself. Now, applying identity property, let us find the value of n. Number 1, if 6 plus n is equal to 6, what is the value of n?
0.
2, 7 equals n times 7, what is the value of n?
1.
Okay, good. 4 plus 0 is equal to n. What is the value of n?
4.
Okay, good. Now, the question is, does identity property apply to subtraction and division? So, parang same question lagi ito. Kapag may given na property, applicable kaya siya sa ibang operation. Tignan natin. Is 5 minus 0 equals to 5?
Yes.
Therefore, identity property can be applied to subtraction. What about 5 divided by 1? Is that equal to 5?
Yes.
Therefore, in identity property, adding or subtracting 0 will not change the number. And also, multiplying or dividing a number by 1 will not change the number itself. let us have the application of identity property. Do you know that in adding integers, we are applying identity property? How? Given 7 plus negative 3. We all know that we can model 7 as 7 na positive and we can model negative 3 as 3 negatives. Now, remember zero pair. Meron tayong zero pair dyan. Ano yun? Yung positive 3 and negative 3. Therefore, the question 7 plus negative 3 is just like 4 plus 0 because we have the zero pairs. So the answer here, or the zero pair, will become 0. The answer will be 4. And identity property is also the one responsible for simplifying fraction or expressing fraction into its lowest term. For example, 12 divided by 15. So, paano ba tayo nag-lowest term? Hinahanap natin yung greatest common factor. Or we can express 12 and 15 as product of a certain number and their greatest common factor. So, 12 is equal to 4 times 3, 15 is equal to 5 times 3. And we all know that 3 over 3 is just equal to 1. Therefore, 12 over 15 is equal to 4 over 5 times 1. But since identity property, sinasabi na any number times 1 will not change the number itself, we can say that 12 over 15 is just equal to 4 over 5. Let's now have the next property, inverse property. Now, given the following, I want you to explore and discover ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng inverse property.
5 plus negative 5 is equal to 0. Negative 6 plus 6 is equal to 0. 4 fifths times 5 fourths is equal to 1. And 10 times 1/10 is equal to 1.
I want you to state inverse property by completing the statement. You may choose from the words below. There are two statements. One statement is for addition and the other one is for multiplication.
Statement: the sum of any number and its additive inverse or opposite is 0. For the second statement, the product of any number and its reciprocal is 1.
Good. So, in the given, ang additive inverse ni 5 ay negative 5. Ang additive inverse ni negative 6 ay 6. That's why when you add, the answer will be 0. Doon naman sa next na given, ang reciprocal ni 4 over 5 ay 5 fourths. Ang reciprocal ni 10 ay 1 over 10. And then when you multiply, the answer will be 1. Now, state inverse property in symbols. So, if A is a real number, then A plus negative A equals
0.
A times 1 over A equals
1.
Okay, good. Actually, inverse property is also responsible sa zero pair sa addition of integers. Now, let us apply inverse property to find the value of n. For number 1, 6 plus n equals 0. What is the value of n?
6.
Type of negative 6 and 6?
Inverse.
Okay, that's why their sum is 0. Next, 7 times n is equal to 1. What is the value of n?
1 over 7.
Okay, good. What is the relationship between 1 over 7 and 7? Okay, that's why their product is 1. Next, 3 over 4 times n is equal to 1. What is the value of n?
4 over 3.
Okay, that is good. Now, the question is, lahat ba ng real numbers ay may opposite at reciprocal?
Because 0 has no opposite.
Okay, that's correct. 0 has no opposite because 0 is neither positive nor negative. And also, hindi lahat ng numbers may reciprocal kasi ang reciprocal ng 0 ay undefined, which is not considered as a number. Application ng inverse property, ito ay makikita nyo or ma-apply nyo sa mga concepts sa algebra. Now, let us summarize first yung 5 properties na napag-aralan natin. Una, commutative property. Anong ibig sabihin nito sa addition? Pag binago natin yung order pa nag-add tayo, it will not change the result. Or in symbols, A plus B is equal to B plus A. In multiplication naman, kapag binago natin yung order ng pag-multiply, the result will still be the same. Or in symbols, A times B is equal to B times A. Now, for associative property, in addition, we can regroup the addends. In multiplication, we can regroup the factors. Remember, it is only applicable in addition and multiplication. Now, for distributive property, we can distribute a certain number if you are multiplying that number to the sum, or in symbols, para mas madali nyo maintindihan, A times the quantity B plus C, you can distribute A, so it can be AB or A times B plus AC or A times C. Identity property, very simple. Kapag nag-add ka ng 0, the answer will not change or the answer is equal to the number itself. Pag nag-multiply ka ng 1, it will not change the number. For inverse property, so maraming nalito sa identity at saka inverse property. Kapag identity property, yung number hindi nagbabago. On the other hand, kapag inverse property naman, kapag inadd mo yung additive inverse, the answer will be 0. Or, kapag multiply mo yung reciprocal, the answer will be 1. That's why, have a practice. So, I want you to find the value of n and determine what property is illustrated. Now, let's have the first one. 15 plus n equal to 0. What is the value of n?
Negative 15.
And what property did you apply?
Inverse property.
Okay, good. Next, quantity 9 plus 2 plus 5 is equal to 9 plus the quantity n plus 5. What is the value of n?
2.
And what property?
Associative property.
Next one. 6 times 5 times n is equal to 6 over 5. What is the value of n?
1.
What property?
Identity property.
Good. Next. 2 over 5 times n is equal to 1. What is the value of n?
5 over 2.
And what property?
Inverse property.
And what is the relationship between 2 over 5 and 5 over 2?
Reciprocal.
That's correct. Next. Negative 7 plus 3 is equal to n plus negative 7. What is the value of n?
3.
And what property?
Commutative property.
Next. Negative 99 plus n is equal to negative 99. What is the value of n?
0.
And what property?
Identity property.
That is correct. Let's have this one. 5 times the quantity 3 plus n is equal to 15 plus 45. What is the value of n?
9.
And what property?
Distributive property.
Okay, good. Now, yung isang naiwang property. Hindi ko siya masyadong sinama ron sa 5 kasi medyo kakaiba tong property na to. And that property is closure property. Okay, can you read what closure property states?
The closure property states that when you perform an operation such as addition, multiplication, etc. on any two numbers in a set, the result of the computation is another number in the same set.
In symbols, if a and b are two integers, then a plus b, a minus b, and a times b is also an integer. So yun lang sinasabi ng closure property. Kapag meron kang dalawang set of real numbers, for example, integers, inad mo sila, sinubtract mo, tinimes mo, ang magiging sagot ay integer pa rin. Examples, 2 and 3 are integers. 2 plus 3 is 5 and 5 is an integer. 7 and 7 minus 5 equals 2 and 2 is an integer. Negative 2 times negative 5, they are both integers, so the product is 10, which is also an integer. But closure property for integers does not apply in division. Why? 5 and 2 are both integers. But when you perform the operation division, the answer for 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. So, yun lang yung closure property. In real life, parang ganito lang yan. Yung nanay mo at saka yung tatay mo, parehas tao. So, malamang ikaw ay magiging tao pa rin. So, yun yung tatandaan nyo lagi sa closure property. Yung aso, tapos syempre yung asawa niya aso, pag nanganak sila, aso pa rin. So, parang sa kasabihan na kung ano ang puno, siya rin ang bunga. Paalam!